Hello everybody, Michael here for Tactica Imperialis. Welcome to today's video. Today is going to be part 2 of Cult Mechanicus Codex analysis. I know it's been ages, but we're going to get on to the units found within the Cult Mechanicus Codex, talk about the war gear list, all their special rules, and all the things that are concerned with all the units. Now, you may remember, if you remember way back to my Skitarii review, I complained about the number of units that were in that codex because it was something like 7? Something like that. Well, in this book, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. There are 6 units in this codex, which is a little bit ridiculous. Just a tad. And to be honest, one Force Org slot isn't even used, although you could probably work that out from the detachment, which we talked about in the last video, which I will put in the description because it has been a while since I made it. So if you want to look up army special rules, relics, warlord traits, and all of that good stuff, then go and do that first, because I will not be making huge in-depth analysis of them as part of this video. Right, let's get started with the Cult Mechanicus HQ choice, the Tech Priest Dominus. 105 points of mechanical goodness. He has weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 5, strength and toughness 4 with 3 wounds, initiative 3, 2 attacks, leadership 9, and a 2+ save. These stats are kind of somewhere between an Imperial Guard commander and a Space Marine captain. You have the resilience of a Space Marine, but you lack some of the combat ability, which is more in line with Imperial Guard, and the initiative of Imperial Guard. The main stat I think that is weak here is his attack stat. He has 2 attacks, which is kind of bad. He is an infantry model and a character, and you only get 1 in a unit, of course. He has artificer armor, hence the 2+ save. He has a power axe, which is a +1 strength AP2 unwieldy melee weapon. A refractor field, which gives him a 5+ invulnerable save, and then a bunch of weapons that have been ripped straight out of the Horus Heresy, looking at the names. So, this is the one thing with this episode that normally takes a while, is we're going to go over the war gear list as it comes up. So the first weapon today is the Volkite Blaster. It is pretty powerful. It's 24-inch range, strength 6, AP 5, heavy 3. Note the fact that it's heavy, because that means he does have that here. It's a heavy weapon, which normally would be an issue, but he's relentless here. But if you are getting it on something else, remember it's heavy. It also has an extra rule associated with it. It's called Deflagrate. Is that what it is? Deflagrate. Interesting new word. So, after normal attacks by this weapon have been resolved, count the number of unsaved wounds caused. Immediately resolve a number of additional automatic strength 6 AP5 hits on the same unit equal to the number of unsaved wounds. Models in the target unit must still be in range in order for this to happen. Any further wounds do not cause any further hits, so it doesn't go on forever and ever and ever. So let's say you fire your 3 shots and you kill 2 guys. That unit, as long as they're still in range, take 2 more strength 6 AP5 hits. This basically turns this weapon from a 3-shot weapon into probably a 4-shot weapon against mid-armored targets, and maybe a 5-shot weapon against others, because it's got a very high strength. Strength 6 and your leader is ballistic skill 5 means you're often going to be hitting and wounding on 2s. So there's a good chance all 3 will actually cause a wound. Against badly armored things like guardsmen, that's another 3 hits, which are also wounding on 2s. Against something like Space Marines, though, you're probably only going to get 1 additional hit if you're lucky. Still pretty useful, though. What else has he got? He has a macro stubber, which seems like a smaller version of the heavy stubber that we find in the Imperial Guard. And that's what it is. So it is a 12-inch range, strength 4, AP6 burst pistol. So it's treated as a pistol in all respects. In that it's a single-handed weapon, it counts as 2 close combat weapons, yada yada yada, but it fires 5 shots at a time instead of 1. That means that even in a clutch situation, you have 5 strength 4 AP6 shots at 12-inch range. The debate is then raised, which gun is better? And in pretty much every case, the answer is probably the Volkite Blaster. The only thing that this is good for is giving you another attack in close combat because you have 2 close combat weapons. That's about it, because I don't believe the Power Axe is a specialist weapon. It's not It's not a powerful weapon. The Volkite Blaster has higher strength. The AP is only one better. The strength is 2 higher, and you only lose 2 shots, but you could get those back via Deflagrate if it's a low armored target. Therefore, the Macro Stubber is pointless other than giving you an extra attack in melee. And he also has a Scryer Skull and a Mechadendrite Harness. Why couldn't it just be the same as a Servo Harness but you have a normal tech priest? That would make my life so much easier. I just need to find them now. Here we go. Mechadendrite Harness. You can fire all your ranged weapons in the shooting phase, and is also equipped with a data spike. So you can fire your Volkite Blaster and your Macro Stubber at the same time, which means you don't actually have to choose between the two. You also get a data spike, which gives you an additional attack at initiative 10, which is melee and haywire. So basically you get a haywire Hammer of Wrath attack, but it doesn't hit automatically. It's still pretty good. Like, for example, if you're going into a vehicle, just an extra haywire attack before you go on with your power axe, it's not bad. And as I said, you can fire all your shooting weapons at the same time. And the Scryer Skull means that at the start of each turn, of your turn, shall I say, you can choose to identify a single mysterious objective anywhere on the battlefield. This means if you're playing mysterious objectives and you're not sure whether you want to go running after one objective or another first, you can identify an objective early to see if it's sabotage and you should stay away, or whether it's a Skyfire next and you need to get over there. You can do that a little early. Bear in mind that if your opponent is nearby, they might just be able to get there and take advantage of it first. Just something you need to think about. So, options. There are options. But before that, he has the Canticles of the Omnissiah special rule, which we talked about in the last episode. He has Feel No Pain, he is an independent character, and he is Relentless, which means that Volkite Blaster is going to be firing normally, no matter what. But no, Slow and Purposeful is the penalty to running, not Relentless. He also has another rule called Master of Machines. In each shooting phase, instead of firing one of his weapons, your choice, you can actually give up the Macro Stubber and still fire the Volkite Blaster. You can choose either to repair a single friendly vehicle he's in base contact with or embarked upon, or to restore a wound lost earlier in the battle. So, to do so, roll a d6. If you roll a 2+, you succeed. If you're repairing a vehicle, you repair a hull point that the nominated vehicle lost earlier in the battle. So, say it's a transport vehicle like a Rhino or an Onega Dunecrawler from Skitarii that you're in base contact with, it gains a hull point back. Or you can repair a weapon destroyed or immobilized result, if you'd prefer. Alternatively, if you're restoring a wound, either the Tech Priest Dominus or any model with Skitarii or Cult Mechanicus in his unit regains a wound lost earlier in the battle. Both of these are effective immediately, meaning that if you repair a weapon in the shooting phase, it can shoot immediately. If you're gaining a wound, it means that you're not going to then die till it gets hot. It's not like it comes into play at the end of the phase. So this is useful for keeping him topped up and makes him actually quite sticky because he's got a 2-up save, Feel No Pain, a 5-up invulnerable, 3 wounds. He's only T4, but he also has a 2+ regenerate. Just think about that. That's a 2+ regeneration roll. Granted, he is vulnerable to the same thing that a Space Marine Captain is, which is a rocket launcher, or in this case, probably a las cannon to get through AP2 to the face. That will absolutely destroy him. Could also be useful though for keeping any attached Castellan robots topped up, although I don't think you can join the units of Castellan robots, so maybe not. Okay, options. You may replace your Volkite Blaster with an Eradication Ray. That sounds terrifying. Eradication Ray. So this has 2 profiles, depending on how far away you are. So it's kind of like a conversion beamer. If it's not clear which profile you should use, you choose, which is interesting. But I don't know how it can be unclear because, like, unless it's exactly 12, then it's probably going to have a decision either way. Anyway, from 0 to 12 inches, it is a Strength 8 AP 1 Heavy 1 shot. From 12 to 24 inch range, it is a Strength 6 AP 3 Heavy 1 blast weapon. So this is sort of an interesting, how far away should I stand? And also it relies on your unit's sort of arrangement. If you want the blast weapon for killing Marines, then you want to be still at the back of your unit. Maybe you want to get up close on this turn so you can shoot at a tank. You do lose the Volkite Blaster, but it's 15 points, I think it was. And I think generally that's a trade up. because you get an anti-vehicle weapon at range, you get an anti-marine weapon if you're fighting against marines, or anti-heavy everything that's not a Terminator, and it's not losing any attack power over the Volkite Blaster. It's just potentially against horde units or mid-ish size units. You can't cover them all with a blast template. You're losing out on a little bit of damage. But against everything but the most lightly armored targets, I think that's a good call for 15 points. You may replace the macro stubber with a Phosphor Serpenter. I'm pretty sure that was in the Skitarii book as well. Yes, it was. So it's an 18-inch range, strength 5, AP 4 weapon, assault 1 with the Luminogen special rule. And because it was in the Skitarii Codex and not in this one, the author has decided not to put what Luminogen is here. So I need to go and look that up. Okay, Luminogen. A unit that suffers 1 or more unsaved wounds, glancing or penetrating hits caused by a weapon with this special rule counts as cover saves as being 1 point worse than normal until the end of the phase. Furthermore, units can reroll the dice to determine their charge range against the afflicted unit until the end of the turn. Not bad. You don't really have much ignores cover in Cult Mechanicus from what I can see looking through the book, so pretty useful, and you also gain 6-inch range, +1 strength, and -2 AP on the macro stubber. You lose some shots to do it, but I think for 5 points it's a fair enough trade. The only reason I would advise not doing it is if you're planning to heal a lot, as in you're planning to use the 2+ regenerate on yourself or on a vehicle a lot, because you're not going to be firing this secondary weapon anyway. So if you are planning to do a lot of healing, then just keep the macro stubber, save yourself the points. Anything else? Oh yes, of course. He may take items from Special Issue Wargear and or the Arcana Mechanicum. Now we talked about the Arcana Mechanicum, which are the relics, last time out. Just a reminder for points, Anzion Pseudo Genitor is 15 points, the Mask of the Alpha Dominus is 15 points, the Scryer Skull Perspicatus is 25 points, the Auto Caduceus of Arkan Land is 30 points, the Ravens of the Technomartyr is 30 points, and the Uncreated Gauntlet is 35. There are not many other models in here that can take, relics. I think the only other one is the Cybernetica Datasmith in the Castellan Robots, but we'll get to him later on. In terms of Special Issue Wargear, you have digital weapons for re-rolling a single dice to wound in the assault phase, 10 points, not bad. You may also replace your refractor field with either a conversion field or a stasis field. So you give it your 5+ invulnerable, and in the case of a conversion field, you pay 5 points in order to get a 4+ invulnerable save. At the end of the phase in which you pass 1 or more invulnerable saves granted by this field, all units within D6 inches must take a blind test. Friendly units can re-roll the test, but Mechanicum initiative is not that high. I mean, what are we looking at? 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. Yeah, it's predominantly initiative 3. So you have a 25% chance the unit within D6 inches gets blinded. I think it will affect your own unit as well. Willing to be corrected. Within D6 inches of the bearer, so it must include the bearer's unit. So it's 5 points to buff your invulnerable save, but 25% of the time blind your unit. Okay, I think that's a fair trade. I think that's actually a fair trade, because your 2+ save will probably do a lot of work anyway. The other thing you could take is a stasis field. This is 15 points. So what this does is when you go to ground, you get a 2+ invulnerable save, but your weapon skill and ballistic skill becomes 0. This means you can't shoot once you've gone to ground, you can't even snapfire, you can't fight in melee if you get charged. So this is something that you're going to do if your Tech Priest Dominus is designed to stay away from trouble. The problem is his guns are not designed to do that, so the best thing for this is to put him as part of an allied detachment in base contact with a really long-range tank, something like a Whirlwind or a Lehman Russ, just a standard Lehman Russ, right at the back, so that if he ever gets shot, he can go to the ground for a 2-up invul or a 2-up armor, and it won't be affected by it, and you can still heal, I think. There's an issue base instead of, it says instead of shooting, but you can't shoot, so maybe not. And And the other thing you could take was something called the Info Slave Skull. 10 points. Sounds interesting. What is it? You get +1 leadership and you gain acute senses. So does this benefit you in any way whatsoever? So you become leadership 10 and you gain acute senses. I don't think acute senses is that amazing, but 10 points for +1 leadership. It's the best leadership value in the army, and there is no fearless pretty much that I've seen. So it might be useful. Oh no, there is some zealot knocking about. So if you're running with the electro priest, don't bother. If you're rocking it on your own, don't bother. Really, the only thing this is good against is things like psychic shriek, or whatever they call that power these days. Right, sorry that took a while. Anyway, on to the next unit, and that is the Cataphron Breachers, one of your 2 troop options. This is a unit that costs 50 points a model, 150 points for a base unit. Weapon skill, ballistic skill, both 3, strength and toughness 5 with 2 wounds, initiative 3, 1 attack, leadership 8, and a 3+ save. Kind of like Ogryns crossed with Space Marines. Yeah, Ogryns crossed with Space Marines seems... Actually, no. They're basically Ogryns, except they have a 3-up armor and only 1 attack. Okay, so they are armed with 3 weapons. The Cataphron Breacher Plate, which I'm assuming is just a 3-up armor save. I doubt it's going to do much fancier stuff than that, considering it's for a trooper. Yep, 3-up save, nothing special to talk about there. They also have a heavy arc rifle and an arc claw. They have a melee and a ranged attack. Now, an arc rifle, I think we had one of those in Skitarii as well. In this case, it is 36-inch range, strength 6, AP 5, heavy 2, haywire. Pretty good. Strength 6, AP 5 with 2 shots on basic infantry with a 36-inch range, pretty helpful, and haywire gives you something for anti-vehicle. The arc claw, on the other hand, is +1 strength, AP 5, melee, haywire. So again, strength 6, AP 5, haywire, except in this case, it's in melee, and you only generally get 1 attack, 2 if you are charging. So these guys are pretty much designed primarily to take out light infantry and all vehicles. That's their job. They are very bulky with the canticles of the Omnissiah special rule, and they're also heavy battle servitors. Right. Models with the special rule cannot run, but can fire up to 2 weapons in each shooting phase, but they only have 1. Furthermore, they count as stationary when firing heavy or salvo weapons, even if they moved, and are allowed to charge in the same turn they fired rapid fire, heavy, or salvo weapons. So they're basically relentless, but can fire 2 guns in each shooting phase. The problem is they don't have 2 guns. They only have the heavy arc rifle, so that's kind of irrelevant on this unit. And it's... yeah. Hang on. Is there something missing here? Maybe. I'll come back to that. Anyway, you can take additional 9 breaches for 50 points a model, meaning a full-size squad of 12 will set you back 600 points. That's a lot. Any model mobile is heavy arc rifle with a torsion cannon. Oh, this sounds painful, and I haven't even read its rules yet. 24-inch range, strength 8, AP 1, heavy 1, gravitic contortion. Each time a non-vehicle model suffers an unsaved wound, it loses D3 wounds instead of 1. Each time a vehicle suffers a penetrating hit, it loses D3 hull points instead of only 1. Ouch, 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 ow, ow, ow. So, you lose 12-inch range on your heavy arc rifle to get strength 8 AP 1, single shot, damage D3. For those who play Age of Sigmar, it's basically damage D3 to everything. Which means that you have the potential to one-shot everything that isn't a monstrous creature or a stupidly big vehicle like a Land Raider. You have the potential to one-shot them, and you have potentially 3 in a unit, and it's a free swap. So this depends on how you like killing your vehicles. If you think that you can just haywire them to death, go with the heavy arc rifle, which will also give you some light infantry firepower. If you're needing the heavy infantry firepower, then the torsion cannon is your choice, because it will instant kill Terminators, or anything in Terminator armor, or anything that's a Space Marine, basically. It can ping off light vehicles very easily and does D3 damage as well. It can at least do some damage to heavy vehicles. However, it says penetrating, so you have to actually pen the vehicle in order to cause the D3 damage. Glancing hits won't do that. So I guess really heavy armor, the heavy arc rifle is the way to go. Interesting to weigh up. And of course you are free to mix and match as you might expect. Any model will also replace the arc claw with a hydraulic claw. This is 10 points. So it better be good because it's a melee weapon. Hydraulic claw. +2 strength AP dash, melee unwieldy, iron grasp. When a model with a hydraulic claw makes its close combat attacks, it can choose instead to make a single grasp attack. If you do, roll to hit as normal, but resolve the attack at strength 10 AP, double strength AP 2. So you basically have either a strength 7 AP dash initiative 3 attack, or you have a strength 10 AP 2 initiative 1 attack. And there's a reason you pick the original version? This is basically a 10-point power fist, which is ridiculously cheap. It's a 10-point power fist, to put it that way. And as a result, it's pretty good. The one thing it lacks compared to the Arc Claw is Haywire, which again, if you're going for heavy vehicle killing, you may actually be better off with the Haywire attack as opposed to this. So if you're needing them to pull a heavy infantry killing roll, then make the swaps. Go to Torsion Cannon, go to the Hydraulic Claw. Otherwise, if you're just going for general vehicle killing, the heavy arc rifle and arc claw will generally do fine. You don't need the Torsion Cannon to kill light vehicles, and against heavy vehicles, you're actually better off with the arc rifle. Next up is the Cataphron Destroyers. Shiny. 165 points, so they cost 5 points extra per model. But compared to their brethren, they lost a point of armor save. So they have a 4-up save instead of a 3-up. So 3, 3, 5, 5, 2, 3, 1, 8, 4+. I am very confused. We'll see. So 3 Cataphron Destroyers with a Cataphron Demi-Plate, which is the 4+ save version, and a Plasma Culverin. That sounds like a heresy weapon to me. So it's 24-inch range, strength 7, AP 2, heavy 2, blast gets hot. It's a 2-shot plasma cannon. Wow. A 2-shot plasma cannon, but with 12-inch less range. Given that you have 2 wounds, you can actually probably get away with firing this thing. It's nasty. And it also means you don't need torsion cannons on your breaches, because these guys will just mop up heavy infantry and pose a threat to light vehicles just like the torsion cannon would do. So yeah, that's pretty good. They have canticles, they're very bulky, and they are heavy battle servitors as well. So they count as stationary when firing. Even if they move, they can charge if they fired it. And they can fire up to 2 weapons in each shooting phase. Now, this is what's confusing me. They don't have 2 weapons. Their Wargillers doesn't say they do. And yet their options menu says they have a phosphor blaster. So I'm going to run under the assumption that they have a phosphor blaster, and that the version I'm looking at just is missing the phosphor blaster from the text line. So the phosphor blaster, so we haven't covered it yet. Come on. Where is it? This is it's a slightly bigger version of the Phosphor Serpenta that the Tech Brief Dominus can have. It's 24-inch range, strength 5, AP 4, rapid fire Luminogen. So I've already talked about Luminogen earlier on. -1 cover save for the rest of the phase, and reroll charge distances. So yeah, pretty good. Strength 5, AP 4 just adds a little bit of extra firepower into your thing. It's basically just an upgraded bolt gun. It's pretty helpful. So options, now that we've got that out of the way. So again, additional 9, 55 points per model. So a grand total of 12 guys will cost you 660 points, which is a lot. Any model replaces the Plasma Culverin with a heavy grav cannon. Free swap. So, heavy grav cannon. Okay. So 30-inch range, strength star, AP 2, salvo force 6, concussive graviton. What graviton means is that the to wound roll is equal to the armor save. So against something with no save, it can't wound. Against something with a 3-up save, it wounds on 3s. Against something with a 4-up save, it wounds on 4s, and so on. It's salvo 4-6. I've never really worked out how salvo works, but that's a lot of shots and will allow you to absolutely decimate heavily armored stuff. It is ridiculous how good you would be at getting through heavily armored stuff. So it's pretty powerful, and it's a free swap. The only reason you wouldn't do it is if you like the idea of using blast templates. Also, I believe it automatically immobilizes vehicles on a 6. I think that's its other rule. So if you need these guys to do a little of anti-vehicle duty because your breaches are maybe not enough, then do that. They can also replace their Phosphor Blaster with a Cognis Flamer, 5 points. So you give up the Luminogen Strength 5 EV4 and you go a bit up close and personal. So it's a Strength 4 AP5 Flamer. So it's basically just a Flamer. But it also has an extra rule called Cognis Flame Wall. If you fire Overwatch with this thing, it's automatically 3 hits rather than D3. That's not bad. So basically, this is the one that you use if you're getting really up close and personal with these guys. But to be honest, you really shouldn't, because they're weaker than the breaches at staying alive because they have a 4+ save. So these guys are better off at slightly longer range, although the only weapon that's got a good range is the grav cannon, and even then that's outranged by the heavy arc rifle. Interesting. Which troop is better? Personally, I think the breaches are a bit more versatile. The destroyers are there for heavy infantry pretty much exclusively. That's all they're really there for, is heavy infantry mopping up. Because the salvo weapon wouldn't help against lightly armored dudes because the wound roll would be terrible. The plasma culverin is overkill. I think probably the heavy arc rifle and arc claw is decent, although neither of them benefit that much against lightly armored stuff. I mean, the torsion cannon's single shot. The plasma culverin is 2 blasts, which is probably the best. The heavy grav cannon is salvo, but if you've got a bad save, graviton is really bad. And the heavy arc rifle is only 2 shots. So it's interesting to see how those troops work. Infantry may become an issue, so we'll have to see what the Electro Priests are capable of mustering. Next unit is the Fulgurite Electro Priests. These guys are 90 points for a unit of 5, which is 18 points per model. And they have sort of guardsman stats. So the weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 3, strength and toughness 3, 1 wound, initiative 3, 2 attacks, leadership 9. So they're kind of like a guard sergeant in terms of stats. But they also have no save. No save at all, which is kind of bad. They are infantry. Actually, I think I forgot to mention the destroyers and the breaches from earlier. They're both also infantry. And these guys, you get 5 in a squad, and they have 2 pieces of war gear. Electrostatic gauntlets and a Voltergeist. Oh my god, is that a pun on poltergeist? Because if it is, I'm going to be very sad. Okay, so the electrostatic gauntlets. These are a ranged and a melee weapon at the same time. So in a ranged mode, they are 12-inch range, strength 4, AP dash, assault 2, twin linked. They're basically a twin linked shotgun, because I think shotguns were strength 4 AP nothing, but maybe the shorter range. So reasonable anti-infantry firepower, but not that amazing. And in close combat, they are +1 strength AP dash. So you hit at strength 4 AP dash in melee with 2 attacks. So basically their range profile is identical to their melee profile, except they reroll to hit in ranged attacks. Their Voltergeist thingies, I've already forgot this, the Voltergeist field, gives a 5+ invulnerable save. Furthermore, a model with the Voltergeist field has the Hammer of Wrath special rule result at strength 4 and does not suffer the initiative penalty for charging through difficult terrain, but instead fights at normal initiative. Okay, so that explains why they have no armor save. They have a 5+ invulnerable. They get Hammer of Wrath, which is quite nice, and they strike at initiative 3 all the time, which is okay. They're not amazing at ranged or in melee, but they could be useful. So, special rules. They have Canticles of the Omnissiah, which we talked about, as I said in the previous episode. Feel no pain. So quite simply, these guys will have a 5+ save of some description all the time, whether it's an invuln or a feel no pain, or both. And they're also zealots. That's why their ranged weapons are twin link, because their melee weapons roll to hit the first round of combat. Clever. So they're also fearless, which is helpful because they're going to die a lot. So their other rule is siphoned vigor. If a unit that contains one or more models with this special rule completely destroys an enemy unit, i.e. causes the last model in the enemy unit to die in the assault phase, all Voltaggeist fields in the unit confer a 3+ invulnerable save instead of a 5+ until the end of the game. This includes sweeping advances. If several units are involved with this rule are involved in a multiple combat, be sure to resolve each unit separately to determine which, if any, actually get the kill. That's interesting. That is actually interesting. So if these guys can get to melee and kill something, either by killing the last dude or sweeping advancing, they become storm shields for the rest of the game, which is quite interesting. The problem is you've got no delivery system. You have no actual vehicles in Cult Mechanicus. So getting them into melee safely is a bit of a risk because on the way in, they're basically just guardsmen with feel no pain. And that's it. So interesting idea. You can have up to 20 in a squad, so you can add another 15, bringing the grand total, for the squad to 360 points, which again is a lot. But they have no additional options. Your other option is the Corpuscari Electro Priest. These guys are also 90 points, and their stats are slightly different. Whereas the Fulgurite Priests are weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 3, the Corpuscari are weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 4, strength 3, toughness 3, 1 wound, initiative 3, 2 attack, leadership 9, and no save. They are also armed with electrostatic gauntlets and the Voltaggeist field, so they're very similar. They have Canticles of the Messiah, Feel No Pain, and Zealot. So these guys are your shooty equivalent of the the Fulgurite Priest, and their additional rule instead of Siphoned Vigor, is that what it's called? Yeah, Siphoned Vigor is Shock. Whenever a model with this special rule makes attacks to those electrostatic gauntlets in the shooting phase or the assault phase, each to hit roll of a 6 causes 2 additional hits on the target. Snapshots never cause additional hits as a result of this special rule. So basically, they've got Tesla. Or I think Taser is the Skitari code. I think Skitari had a rule similar to this. I believe it was called Taser that did it. Let me just actually go and look that up because I'm a little bit curious to see if that's what it is. I know one of their weapons did it. Yeah, Taser. So it's a cross between Taser and Tesla from Skitari and Necrons respectively. So if you roll a 6 to hit, which considering your attacks are all rerolling to hit the first round of combat, you might you get an extra 2 hits for free. You are only striking at strength 4 AP nothing, so it's not amazing, but it's kind of useful if you're just trying to whittle down something like Orc Boys in close combat. Bear in mind, though, you can't improve your save like the Fulgurites can, so you're basically just guardsmen with Feel No Pain for the entire game. Again, you have up to 20 in a squad, so full-size squad, 360 points, as we've said before. And now we come to probably the most cool thing that we've got out of this book. The Castellan Robot Maniple. 290 points for 2 robots and a Cybernetica Datasmith. The robots are monstrous creatures that are weapon skill, ballistic skill 3, strength 6, strength 6, toughness 7, 3 wounds, initiative 2, 2 attacks, leadership 7, and a 3+ save. The Datasmiths are slightly weaker versions of the Tech Priest Dominus. Weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 4, strength 4, toughness 4, 2 wounds, initiative 3, 2 attacks, leadership 9, and a 2+ save. This is why you keep the Datasmith alive, because he's got a higher leadership. And he is infantry and a character. So as I said, you get 2 robots and 1 Datasmith. In terms of war gear, your Datasmith has Artificer armor, a Power Fist, and a Refractor field, a Data Spike, which we talked about earlier, which gives you an additional, basically, Strength 4 Haywire Hammer of Wrath attack, or Initiative 10, should I say. It's not actually Hammer of Wrath, but it's resolved at Initiative 10. So yeah, Strength User, Melee, Haywire, and it's resolved at Initiative 10. Though you don't get an additional pile-in move off of it. So that's kind of useful. He also has something called the Gamma Pistol, which, if my Fallout experience has taught me anything, is probably something nuclear related, irradiating and things. So yeah, it's a radiation gun. So it is a 12-inch range, strength 6, AP 2, armor bane pistol. Flipping heck. So it's a plasma pistol, but it trades +1 strength and gets hot for armor bane. That's really good. The Gamma Pistol is excellent. The problem is I think the robots have got slightly bigger guns that kind of mean you'll never be in range to fire this thing, but if you do get close, it's pretty nasty, and on Overwatch it might just be a nice little deterrent. The robots have Castellan Battlehide, which I'm assuming is just a 3+ save. I'll double check though. Yep, it's just a 3+ armor save, nothing special there. I don't know why they call that a piece of war gear, but it's slightly weird. Oops, hang on a second. Something just went. Oh, okay, fixed it. They have 2 power fists and a carapace mounted Incendine Combustor, which, as far as I remember, is just a torrent flamer. There's nothing else to it. It's just a torrent flamer. Yeah, template, strength 4, AP 5, assault 1, torrent. So base stats, you have 2 power fists and a torrent flamer, and your dude has a plasma pistol, but better, and a power fist. Not bad. In terms of the special rules, the Datasmith has Canticles and Feel No Pain, so he's pretty hard to put down. In fact, I think just about every single model in this codex actually has Feel No Pain. The only ones that don't are the Cataphrons. Everything that's actually human, as far as you judge a tech priest to be human, has got Feel No Pain, which is kind of cool. The robots have Canticles and they're also fearless. So remember I was saying about Leadership 9? Yeah, not relevant at all. And they have 2 extra rules attached to them. One of them is the Castellan Battle Protocols. Now, I very briefly mentioned this in the Warlord trait. It was a Warlord trait, or I think it was a relic. Had something to do with the Castellan Battle Protocols. So, at the start of the game, Castellan robots have the Aegis Protocol active. You can select a new protocol at the end of any of your turns as long as there is a Datasmith in the unit. However, this does not become active until the start of your next turn. The current protocol remains active until then. So if you call it at the end of your turn, your opponent has until the end of their turn to capitalize on the fact that it hasn't changed yet. When it becomes active, it immediately replaces the former protocol. So when you start the game, you have the Aegis protocol. This gives you Feel No Pain, which is pretty good. And you can change it to either the Protector protocol, which will allow you to fire your carapace mounted weapons twice, i.e. your torrent flames can be fired twice, which is pretty nasty against something you're up and close to, but you can't move. So once you make that call, you are stuck. And if you choose the Conqueror protocol, you double your attack characteristic to 4 with your 2 power fists, which will actually be 5, but you can't shoot, which is very interesting. So yeah, you've got a lot of choice there. The Aegis protocol is probably the strongest because it gives you the most balance between power, options, and survivability to get Feel No Pain, but you could certainly get something out of the other protocols as well. You can change at any time, but don't lose your Datasmith. If you get sniped by a precision shot las cannon, you're stuck with the protocol you've got. Finally, there is the Repulsor Grid. Castellan robots have a 5+ invulnerable save against shooting attacks. Furthermore, each time they are targeted by a shooting attack and pass the saving throw of any kind on a roll of a 6, the shot is deflected. So if it's a armor save or a invulnerable save, I don't think Feel No Pain counts as a save, so that doesn't count. The shot is deflected. If it is deflected, the unit that fired it suffers immediate hit, resolved with the strength, AP, and special rules of the hit originally allocated to the Castellan robot, as if it had just been shot at by that Castellan robot. A repulsor grid cannot deflect blasts or flamer weapons or psychic shooting attacks. Very interesting. So this is basically the ultimate FU to las cannons, because if you can pass that save, you just bounce that off and snipe them in the head with the las cannon. Anything that's got a gun that's better than its own armor save should be really quite worried about this. It's not going to happen a lot, but it's very interesting. And the other way to get around it is to get into melee, which, if you can keep the Datasmith alive long enough, means that you can just double your attack value a little bit in a bit. And yeah, that's pretty nice, because you have a 3 wound, toughness 7, 3 up armor, 5 up invulnerable. Pretty tanky. So options, you can include up to 2 additional Datasmith, 50 points a model. You want the second one, at least just in case you get sniped. Do that. And you can include up to 4 additional Castellan robots at 120 points a throw, which is a lot, but it might be worth it. to get an additional 1 or 2 into your unit in a large game. So a full-size unit is going to set you back, so you've got 290 base plus another 580, as it's going to be. 580 plus 290 is 870. Okay, 870 points for a full-size squad. Bloody hell. Any robot may replace both the Power Fist with a twin-linked heavy phosphor blaster, which is a 10-point swap. A reminder, because I think we covered it already, the phosphor blaster is 24-inch range, strength 5 AP 4, rapid fire, luminogen. I have got that right, haven't I? That it's actually just a phosphor, not a heavy one. Oh, it's a heavy phosphor blaster. Sorry, I've got that wrong. My bad. So the heavy phosphor blaster is 36-inch range, strength 6, AP 3, heavy 3, with luminogen, which we talked about a couple of times before. So you get a twin link strength 6, AP 3 gun instead of your 2 power fists. Generally, this is the better option. Because your power fists, you're a monstrous creature, so your AP 2 most of the time, I believe, I could be wrong on that. Strength 6, you probably aren't going to be going to melee that much unless you actually decide to go for it. So the heavy phosphor blaster is a worthwhile swap in a lot of places. You can also choose to, replace your carapace-mounted Incendine Combustor, i.e. your flamer, with a heavy phosphor blaster as well, giving you another strength 6 AP 3 3-shot gun. So for 15 points, you're putting out 3 not twin-linked and 3 twin-linked strength 6 AP 3 shots that also have luminogen. Pretty good. Okay, that's pretty good. Any Datasmith may take Specialist U Wargear and or Arcana Mechanicum. Note there are some restrictions here. You cannot take the Scryoscope Perspicatus or the Autocaduceus of Arcan Land. If you want to see what those do, as I said, it's in the previous part. They're for Tech Priest Dominus only, so you can have the Pseudogenitor, the Mask of the Alpha Dominus, the Technomartyr Raiment, and the Uncreated. Now, one of them is to do with command protocols. I'm just going to check which one it is. It's the Mask of the Alpha Dominus, which would allow you to change your battle protocol immediately, but then write that protocol off for the rest of the game. You might want to do this with the Conqueror protocol, because once you've gone into melee once, you might not be able to wanting to do so again, because you just have to kill something quickly. By the same token, you might want to give up your carapace weapons for the rest of the game in order to quickly get Feel No Pain in a pinch. It's up to you, just an option, and I'm glad you don't get the Autocaduceus, because otherwise you get It Will Not Die, and that's overpowered. So in terms of Specialist War Gear, we talked about them once before. Digital weapons, pretty good because you've got a Power Fist. Info Slave Skull, kind of pointless. I don't really get it with Mysterious Objectives. The Conversion Field buffs your invulnerable save, but the robots are a bit more susceptible to blind because they're initiative 2. So bear that in mind. And a Stasis Field, well, if you're going to ground with your big scary... Actually, I don't know if the big scary robots can go to ground, so it's kind of pointless. And that's it. That's all the units that are available. I'm sorry this video has gone on for so long. I didn't intend it to, but there are so many unique weapons in Mechanicus that it's just ridiculous. Like, I don't think, like, how many weapons are actually things I've heard of before I did this review? 1, 2, 3 pieces of war gear there. No, that's all new. That's all new. That's all new. That's all new. 1, 2, yeah, there's only about 4 or 5 weapons in here that I've actually heard of before I sat down to do this review. There are a lot of new guns in here and a lot of special rules that go with it, even though there's only 6 units. So I apologize the review's taken so long, but if you're still here, thank you for sticking with it. That is the end of today's video. I do hope you have enjoyed it if you managed to stick through it. If you have any thoughts about how to best use these units, do feel free to let me know in the comments below. In the next part, we're going to be looking at the formations because there's a few of those. 1, 2, 3, 4 to be exact. Then we're going to do, at the end of that video, we're going to do sort of a sit down all-in review on Cult Mechanicus, see how they work, what they're good at, what they're bad at. And then we're going to do a separate video, if we can, where we bring Skitarii and Cult Mechanicus together into one large Adeptus Mechanicus force to see how that works. In the meantime, if you have any thoughts on either Mechanicum army, I keep saying Mechanicum, it's Mechanicus, sorry. On any Mechanicus army, do feel free to let me know what you think in the comments below, and then I can use your suggestions to help influence my thoughts, because I don't have an experience using this army really at all. Also, if you want to see a different codex analysed in future, do feel free to let me know as well. I'm probably going to do a Tau review for 7th edition, because that's the army I'm going to be playing for a bit, so it may as well help me to go through that codex, and it might benefit you guys as well. And then we'll also have a look at the Farsight Enclave supplement because I have just picked that up. Right. Thank you very much for watching the video. I do hope you've enjoyed it. My name is Michael for Tactica Imperialis. Until the next time, I'll see you all again. Bye for now.